Good morning, everyone. I hope that you're having a great day. Today, I'm going to be reading the story about Madame Marie Curie to you. The story is characterized as being non-fiction. Non-fiction means it's not made up. It's not fictional, which means made up, okay? If it's non-fiction, it is telling us real events or about real people in the world. So Madame Marie Curie was probably one of the world's most famous scientists. She discovered some really, really cool things in chemistry. So we're going to talk about that today, and we are going to learn about her life. Now, before we begin, I want you to go and grab yourself a highlighter, okay? While we are reading this story together, I want you to highlight the words in your text that you find are most important. Meaning, if you were to talk about this with someone else, highlight the things that you think they should know, okay? Pull out the main idea. Maybe we say who. Maybe we're talking about what, where, when, and how. Who, what, where, when, and how. Those are the questions that I want you to be thinking about and highlighting the answers to those questions while we're reading, okay? Before we begin reading, though, I want to talk about some vocabulary with you. The first word that I want to talk to you about is remarkable. If I say your work is remarkable, I am telling you that your work deserves to be acknowledged, okay? It is worthy of attention because it is amazing, okay? Oppressive. Oppressive means to treat people in a cruel and unfair way, okay? Clandestine, okay? It looks a little funny in your book. It's spelled C-L-A-N-D-E-S-T-I-N-E, clandestine. It is an adjective, meaning it's a describing word, and it means to be done in secret, okay? So it's something that's not broadcast or told to everybody, but it's done maybe under the table. It's clandestine. A governess is a person it's a woman who was employed to teach children from a rich family, okay? So typically in rich families during this time, the parents would not send their kids to school, but instead they would have someone come from the outside and live with them to teach their children what they needed to know. The next word we're going to talk about is driven. Now, this does not mean to drive, okay? But it's an adjective that describes a person who is determined to be successful. It means that they have their eye on a goal and they do whatever it takes to get to that goal, okay? The word noted is an adjective also. It's not meaning to write down or to take notes, but instead it means to be well known, okay? The final word is literary, and it means to be connected with literature, okay? With that being said, we are going to get started. I want you to give me a little break because Madame Marie Curie's family members' names are quite difficult to pronounce because she's Polish, meaning she's from Poland. So the words and the names of those people are pronounced a little different. So I ask that you just have patience with me while I try to pronounce them. With that being said, we're going to begin reading on page 75 of our textbook. Madame Marie Curie. Madame Marie Curie, 1867 to 1934, was a remarkable woman, one of the most famous scientists in the world. When she first started out, it was very uncommon for a woman to be a scientist. That, however, never stopped her from becoming a great physicist and chemist. In fact, Marie became the first woman to win a Nobel Prize, and the only woman to be awarded 2 Nobel Prizes over the course of her career. That seems like that might be important. I might want to highlight that. However, there was a time when Marie was just a girl with what seemed like an impossible dream. Born in Warsaw, Poland, then part of the Russian Empire, on 7th November 1867, Maria Sklodowska was the youngest of 5 siblings. Her father, Władysław, taught mathematics and physics. Her mother, Bronislawa, was also a teacher and a headmistress at a school for girls. Growing up with 2 teachers, all 5 children were taught to read and write early. Marie had a very good memory, which meant she did very well at school. However, she would never rely on this alone. As a student and an adult, Marie was incredibly hardworking. This was fueled by her curious mind and thirst for knowledge. As Marie grew older, however, her family went through a very hard time. When Marie was 10, her oldest sister, Zofia, died from typhus. Less than 2 years later, Marie's mother contracted tuberculosis and died as well. The family's troubles did not end there. Under the oppressive Russian rule, Polish people suffered. Russian authorities had banned reading and writing in the Polish language. Students in Polish schools, like the one Władysław taught in, were prohibited from conducting laboratory work. This was a great setback for the science teacher. Then, due to his anti-Russian views, Władysław was fired from his job. To earn money, he started renting out a room in his family's home. In spite of everything, he made sure his children were well educated. Using old lab equipment, he conducted basic scientific experiments at home with them. Marie fell in love with the work and started dreaming to becoming a scientist. At 16, Marie graduated from school with a gold medal. Might be important. Might want to highlight that. After a bout of ill health, she began working as a tutor. What she really wanted, however, was to go to college. Unfortunately, colleges in Poland did not accept women at the time. Also might be important. This greatly frustrated Marie, who had been a top student in her old school. Both Marie and her sister Bronislawa, whom the family called Branya, wanted to pursue their education further. Determined as they were, the girls found a way. They began taking classes at the Flying University, a clandestine or secret Polish institution which admitted women. The institute would hold informal, secret classes, which Polish students could attend. It was only legalized around 1905. Though Marie and Branya were able to study further, the university could not give them an official degree. However, there were colleges abroad that could. Both sisters set their sights on France. Marie dreamed of attending the famous French institution, the Sorbonne, in Paris. While Marie dreamed of becoming a physicist, Branya wanted to become a doctor. However, the 2 intelligent sisters could not afford the fees and the cost of living abroad. This is when they struck a deal. Marie agreed to remain in Poland while her sister pursued a degree in France. The idea was that Marie would work and support her sister from home. Then, when Brogna's studies were done, she would do the same for Marie. It would be almost 6 years before Marie could go to France. After Brogna left, Marie continued to study as much as she could. But work kept her busy. She secured a post as a governess in Warsaw for some time. Might be important. Later, she got a similar job working for her father's rich relatives. In 1890, Brogna invited her sister to Paris. Only a few months earlier, she had married a Polish doctor, Kazimierz Dulewski. The two were eager for Marie to join them. Marie, however, could still not afford the university fees. Luckily, her father had found a good job, and he helped his youngest daughter to save money. It would take her about 1.5 years before she could go. In 1891, Marie finally left for Paris. She first lived with her sister and brother-in-law. That's pretty important. Then she rented a tiny room closer to the university. At the University of Paris, Marie studied physics, chemistry, and mathematics. She hardly had enough money to live on. She would often go hungry, and her health suffered as a result. However, to Marie, it was all worth it. She was finally chasing her dream. She graduated 2 years later with a degree in physics. Pretty important. She started to work in an industrial laboratory while pursuing a second degree, this time in mathematics. During this time, Marie met the French physicist Pierre Curie. The two fell in love and were married in 1895. Pretty important. Pierre proved to be the perfect partner for Marie. Both were driven scientists and loved each other dearly. During the beginning of their marriage, the couple worked on separate projects. Marie greatly admired the work of French physicist Henri Becquerel, who had discovered rays being emitted by the element uranium. That's pretty important. These were weaker than the X-rays discovered by Wilhelm Röntgen earlier. Marie began experimenting on these uranium rays. Pretty important. This was where she made her first amazing discovery. She found that the uranium rays never changed, no matter how one changed the uranium. Pretty important. Her discovery led to the creation of an entire new field of physics known today as atomic physics. That's pretty important. Soon after this, Pierre stopped his own work so he could help Marie. The couple began experimenting on a mineral called pitchblende. This is how in 1898 they discovered an entirely new element. Marie decided to name this element polonium after her homeland. That's important. After more experiments, the couple discovered another radioactive element. In 1902, they announced that they had managed to produce a decigram of this new element. They named it radium. That's important. The following year, the Curies and Henri Becquerel won a Nobel Prize in physics for their work on radioactivity. The couple had shot to international fame in the scientific community by this time, even with 2 daughters to raise, Irene Joliette Curie and Eve Curie. Marie continued to work alongside her children. This was unique for their time, as women were expected to stay home with their children. With the money from their Nobel Prize, Marie and Pierre could take their research even further. However, in 1906, tragedy struck. Pierre was killed in a road accident. Marie was devastated. But that never stopped her. She even became the first female professor at the Sorbonne when she took over her husband's teaching post. Pretty important. In 1911, Marie won her second Nobel Prize. This time, she won it in the field of chemistry for her discovery of polonium and radium. She shared the honor with her late husband. Marie was now one of the most noticed physicists in the world. She was among the great minds, along with Albert Einstein and Max Planck, who attended the first Solvay Congress in physics. She and Einstein remained good friends. How cool would that be to be friends with Albert Einstein? Marie Curie's work extended far beyond the laboratory. Thanks to her, doctors found a way to treat cancer using radiology. Might be important. When World War I started, Marie helped Army doctors treat wounded soldiers too. Doctors were using Wilhelm Röntgen's X-rays to scan injured soldiers, a technology still used today. Marie helped develop portable X-ray machines that could be moved around in trucks. She even helped training soldiers to run the machines. These trucks helped millions of soldiers and became to be known as Petite Curies or Little Curies. After the war, Marie became more and more famous. She wrote and published a biography on her husband and traveled a lot. I've skipped something, sorry. She was awarded honors from countries around the world. Though she continued her research, it was not the only thing she concentrated on now. She wrote and published a biography on her husband and traveled a lot. She visited several international scientific institutions and even helped set up one of her own, the Radium Institute in Warsaw. Pretty important. The institute opened in 1932. And her sister Branya, now a doctor, became its first director. In 1934, Marie's health began to deteriorate. During her time as a scientist, no one knew how dangerous it was to work with radium. Today, scientists have a number of safety measures to follow. Marie had none of these. Pretty important. She kept radium in her desk and often had test tubes of radium in her coat pockets. She died on 4th July, 1934. Her legacy, however, lived on. More than 100 years after her first discovery, she remains one of the most famous scientists in the world. Marie Curie also had a great impact on society. Marie fought against this conviction. It was uncommon for a woman to work in those days, let alone be a famous scientist. Marie fought against this conviction with steady determination. Today, several colleges and research centers bear the Curie name. Marie had statues, postage stamps, and even bridges dedicated to her. Her own daughters, too, went on to win great accolades. The elder, Irene Joliot Curie, won a Nobel Prize in chemistry a year after her mother passed away. Her second daughter, Eve, wrote a biography on her mother entitled Madame Curie, made a name for herself in the literary world. Today, Marie Curie's memory lives on, serving as an inspiration to everyone, man or woman, who has an impossible dream. All right, I hope you enjoyed learning about one of the greatest scientists in the world. All right, have a great rest of your day.